Love, Death, and Robots. Netflix's new what the fuck show. Oh, by the way, David's back. Say hi.
Hey, I'm back.
If you're a new subscriber, go to our YouTube channel and look on the left of our cover photo. He's that guy.
I'm the guy with the silver hair.
Yeah, you see we have Thurman, the dumb funny guy, and then you have me, the smart funny guy, and then you have David, the drunk straight man.
The drunk straight man who's smoking a fat blunt right now.
Yep. It completes the dynamic perfectly. But anyway, if you haven't seen this series or even know what we're talking about, I'll just give you a little backstory. About 2 weeks ago, I got a fucking email. It was from Netflix, and it was like, "Hey, you want some NSFW animation?" And I was like, "Netflix? What are you
Netflix?
doing?
Are you doing hentai now?"
Yeah, and my best friend was behind me looking at my phone, and he was like, well, "What did Netflix just email you? What are you watching?" And I'm like, "I don't know." So yeah, I thought maybe Netflix had some, Netflix-sponsored high-budget hentai going on. And I was like, "Oh, really? No."
Well, let's hope it has a better budget than the Death Note adaptation.
Yeah, don't remind me. All the budget.
Remember, there's a part 2.
Willem Dafoe. No, but. And by the way, all the tits in this show, you don't have time to get horny because usually they're followed by a gruesome murder. Unless you're into that. So. I mean.
I'm sure there's a necrophiliac kink in there somewhere.
You're probably wondering what the show's about, and I can assure you, I don't know.
Brad, let me break it down. There's love, death, robots, and a lot of bush.
Oh yeah, there's a surprising amount of pubic hair. But no, just before, let me try to get you to understand. It is an episodic show. It's one of those like every episode is a different story, right? So kind of like your Black Mirrors, your Twilight Zones. There's no continuing story. Every new episode is a new little thing. Some of them are as short as like 7 minutes. And
some of them have fucking acting worse than a trauma film.
Yeah, but then some of them have phenomenal acting and animation on par with Pixar.
Oh my god, yes.
So that's like what we're kind of here to talk about today, and we are going to get into spoilers. So I'd say for the next couple minutes we'll try to just discuss it spoiler free. But once we start spoilers, I will just say, all right, go and
okay. So
I guess all
you cut out real bad there.
What's up?
You cut out real bad there.
Oh well,
at least on my end, I know the recording's fine.
Yeah, the recording's fine. But no, what I was going to say was I'm going to start off with a couple things. And you know what? No, we're probably going to have to get into spoilers right away, honestly. So yeah, just go and watch it if you're curious, because all I can tell you is if you like weird shit, like shit that's like going to be like, what? Like, if you liked Spider-Verse and how like weird and wacky the animation was and colorful and psychedelic, if you like, I don't know, getting high.
If you like that, go watch The Witness. Yeah. Short.
If you like getting high and watching like really psychedelic music videos at 3 a.m.
I
do. Watch this. So yeah, but getting into spoilers now, I want to say immediately the first thing I want to talk about is I'm torn with it because every episode I watched, I was, for the most part, I was like, wow, it's it's very different. It's definitely capturing my interest. The animation is gorgeous, but what I wanted from it. It was always like just out of reach, right? Because like almost every episode would end and I would be like, that's it? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So like every episode would end and I would expect this big like reveal or this is what we're going for here. And the first episode kind of had that with her being actually in the body of the monster creature thing.
Oh yeah.
But like then you have episodes like let's
go with 3 robots.
Yeah, sure. So the 3 robots, it's like the apocalypse, they're going through the apocalypse. And by the way, early in that episode, there's a boat at the top of a building, which made me think that right when I saw that, I was like, oh, it was global warming because the flooding. Yeah, that made sense. So it made sense it was global warming, but I really
and cats with opposable thumbs.
Yeah, and that was weird too, right? There's a surprising obsession with cats in I've noticed, because then there was the one where there was the demons in the cave that were also scared of cats.
And Dracula dick.
Oh god, yeah. Then they. And by the way, why was that woman named Gary?
I don't know. I don't know if it's some mercenary thing, because they're all like fucking paramilitary people. There's a lot of Taliban references in there too.
So yeah, I guess I'll start. So bad for me is a lot of the endings left a lot to be desired. You know, like
I would like 7 of them to be picked up for regular series.
Oh yeah, but that could almost be argued like it's a good thing. You're right, because it's like some of these little shorts are like, that was so good, I want to know more about this. Let's talk the very final episode, right? Like they're fighting these creatures and shit. And again, I expect like some big reveal, but really there was no. I didn't feel like there was a point to that. I don't know, to that episode.
Get my vodka.
Sorry, that's my dishwasher. I didn't feel like there was a point to that episode. Like, it was just them fighting something. And I guess maybe, because I came into this expecting it to be Black Mirror-esque in deepness. I expected each episode to have, like, a deep meaning. Maybe I was expecting too much out of it. Because what I will give it, for good, is almost every episode had stellar animation. And honestly, what stood out the most to me was the animation and the camera work.
Oh my god!
Because they had some like Monty Ohm plus level genius of like camera direction. Like especially the one that stood out to me amazingly was the one where they're running away from the Dracula. You know, that one, like like they throw the fucking flare and like it doesn't cut. It like the camera just spins around from the flare's perspective. They jump down a ravine. It doesn't cut to them jumping around down a ravine. The camera angle just shifts. Like the amount of talent that went into the animation of most of these episodes was like, wow. You know, so this is why this show is an anomaly to me, because like there's some aspects of the show that are just average, like story-wise. Like if you look at it from a story, like what are we looking at perspective, it's really, you know, it could just be seen as like your average, I don't know, Super Jail episode on Adult Swim, right? Like, okay, a bunch of dudes are getting fucked up, getting killed, and that's about all of the substance in some of these episodes. But when you look at it from a animation, voice acting, direction aspect, it's got like the budget and level of like some high grade films. So I'm very confused about what brought about this series and why it's so good, while at the same time falling semi-short in some areas.
So here is what it was. And I don't know if you knew about this, and I don't know if a lot of the audience knows about this, but they were all animated by different crews, and it's a reimagining of Fincher's and Miller's long in development reboot of 1981's animated sci-fi film Heavy Metal. Heavy Metal is a cult classic fucking film. So when I first heard about this, I'm like, the rights were still in limbo, for one, and two, this is going to be fucking glorious, because this is a guy that worked on the Deadpool movie, Scott Pilgrim movie, a lot of other under the radar shit.
Okay, I'm glad you brought up Scott Pilgrim, because the episode where that woman is running away from the murderer in the town.
Yep.
I got massive Scott Pilgrim vibes, because like, you know, like they're closing the car and there's like a thunk, you know, and that also got Spider-Verse vibes from that one too.
Yep. So he was the supervisor for the ninja sequences in that. Directorial debut was the Deadpool movie, and he's also a creative executive on the Sonic the Hedgehog live action movie.
It's funny. You know,
hey kids, I look like I'm on meth and I fucking got a chili cheese dog here.
Yeah, it makes sense that, first of all, you know you'll watch it.
No, I will not.
No, I will. First of all, I'm glad that each episode was its own individual animation staff, which makes sense why they're all so good. Because I'm sitting here like, why, you know, these are just animated so well, and there were multiple episodes where the animation is so good that I kept having to double check, like, is this real people? Are these actors, or is this animation?
Right.
Yeah.
Some of these, I would assume, have been in production for numerous years. Yes. This isn't like mass produced right out of the fucking can shit. What I really, really, really wanted to touch on was the one with like the demons in the cave, the one that was
Yeah.
like a Studio Ghibli style animation.
Bro, so the Demons in the Cave was out of that animation blew my fucking mind. And when I was watching it too, I'm like, story wise, this is nothing to write home about. But right now, what this practically is animation porn for me. Like,
yeah.
like it's just like
Both the Sucker of Souls and the Good Hunting shorts were like animation porn to me.
Yes, the fluidity, and like I said earlier, what really stood out to me was the camera work, just the amount of like. I can't even, because it's hard to, how do you describe camera work with words, you know, but just the amount of, like, circling around and, like, the few amount of cuts and, like I said, what really stood out to me was that when they threw the flare, like, I mean, like, it's such a simple action. They're just throwing a flare, but they made it so, like it felt like you were attached to that flare, riding it. Like, it's just so many aesthetic
And
choices.
reminded me of, in the Adam short from Ruby.
Yes.
Just the way they worked the fucking dagger. That was what vibe I got there.
And then, you know what? If anyone ever asks me, like, oh, you know what, camera work doesn't, you know, mean that much or whatever. If anyone ever thinks that, like, this is the thing to show them, because, like, if anything, this show has made me realize how big of a deal camera work is, and how really that can change the entire feel of what you're watching.
For me, the first notion of that was the Freelancer saga for Red versus Blue.
Yeah, and then for me it was always Ruby, because Ruby was known for its brilliant camera work, mixed with its brilliant choreography.
And then going into Ruby after that, you know, it was definitely, you know, it's like, okay, so just the way you manipulate the camera in the program for animation anyway, just kind of takes the fight to a whole nother fucking level.
Yeah.
I'm so used to, at that point, like, your generic... cut.
Basically,
cut.
every film school has a way they teach camera work, and usually it's just your basic, like, Dwayne the Rock Johnson movie, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, for mass production, that makes sense, because you're on a schedule. You're boom, 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 boom. You got to do it now. When you have a passion project, like these shorts were for a lot of these people, I'm assuming, because God knows, with every studio being different, like, this could be some film student's thesis. This could be some fucking... It could be anything from, like, this was one fucking person that worked on this short for years, and it got picked up and put into this fucking series. You know, we don't really know where a lot of them come from.
I bet you that'd be something I should look... I think it'd be fun to look into, but what I want to say is, like...
Oh, yeah, it definitely would. And then...
Go ahead.
The other one that really, really set apart, like, the camera work was the Good Hunting one, with the steampunk animals and shit.
Yes.
And just the way they showed, like, the gears and shit. Each one actually individually moving. Each one not being, like, a still image like you would get in, like, a Volume 5 of Ruby or...
Right, and that's a big thing, too, right? You see that a lot in anime, like high-produced anime, like, where it's... You know, you have a camera panning, but really what's happening is the image is just still. Whereas good animation, shit is always moving. You know, I feel like a lot of, like, lazy animations, be it for, you know, effort wise, time wise, budget wise, the lazy animations, you know, they want to feel like they can only move one at a time. Either we can move the camera or we can move the characters. No, you can do both. And when you do both, it's supposed to be like that way. And I think it was, you know, I don't know if it was Montiome himself or someone on the Ruby team, you know, once said the beauty of animation is that you can put the camera anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, you don't have to have you don't have the restrictions of stunt doubles. You don't have the restrictions of there's a physical camera. You can do whatever you want with animation. You can have a camera come out of a man's asshole if you want, because it is animation. Yes, Ant-Man will defeat Thanos by crawling up his asshole. Confirmed.
Yes. Damn, I knew you were going there.
This is true. And with the marvel of CGI, it can be done. Anyway.
Oh, it could.
Yeah. If anyone
just GoPro that to fucking Ant-Man's head.
Do you know how much respect I would have for Marvel if they actually did that?
Anyway, like, let's talk about a little bit of the absurdity of some of these.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about some specific episodes. So, what were some of your favorites, David?
I love Sucker Souls. I love Good Hunting. I loved the Three Robots one. The
Don't
one that I
forget
thought.
the multiple multiverse Hitler deaths.
Oh my god, that was glorious. That was just a shitpost of an episode.
Well, you know what was great about that? They are only the second group of people after Nintendo to realize that squids will take over the world after humans die out. I'm just saying, I noticed that, and I was like, and they were like, and then a group of squids gained sentience, and I was like, as they should. Splatoon.
Okay, Splatoon fan. The one that I thought I'd hate going into, but I actually came out liking was Suits, which is the farm mech one.
Yeah, that was interesting. You know, and they really definitely got you involved with the characters. Like, you felt when the guy fucking, like, self-destructed himself. I really liked the fatter lady with the cigar. She was great.
Oh my god.
And I liked how the spouses and the husbands, like, really... Wait, I'm sorry, spouses is a general neutral term. I don't know.
Yeah.
I liked how they worked together in such a cool way, and, like, you know, like, it was an interesting meld of sci-fi future tech and redneck hick farming, which I have never seen before. Like, if you ever want to see farmers defend their farm with a mech, that is with multiple mechs and, like, silo rockets and lasers, and it's crazy. And now that one had go ahead, sorry.
That was a bizarre-ass concept, but it fucking worked off real well.
Definitely. And that one had an interesting ending where, again, I wanted to know more, but, like, it got my mind racing, where it zoomed out, and it was, like, basically, they were on this Saturn-like planet with, like, little pockets of humanity, right? Protected by force fields. So, like, that got my mind racing. There's so much you can theorize about that. Like, I'm guessing Earth is all fucked now. And then
as it should be in any fiction, because we fucked our planet.
Yeah, so, like, so Earth is fucked, and basically, I guess they had to move to just random other alien planets, and, like, their normal existence now is dependent on these force fields that give them their little bubbles of oxygen and shit. Like, that was interesting. Other episodes to talk about.
One that Brad, did you ever watch Stargate or Farscape or Firefly?
Are you talking about the one where they
Beyond the
go
Healer Rift? Yep.
Fuck that one. Whoa. Like, that shit got dark.
That could not have been animated.
You really?
Like, the monster, yes, but, like, the people, they...
No, there was definitely... That was animated, for sure.
It looks so fucking real.
Well, see, here's the thing, right? There are shots. Like, there are shots that, like, they have got it down, like, 99.9999%, but there are occasional shots where the uncanny valley slips in, right? Like, the big ones were when that woman that wasn't trusting it would yell. Whenever she yelled, like, her mouth didn't look right. Like, those were the little areas where I was like, okay, it is animated. But it was barely, you know? Also, no boobs are that perky. We all know no boobs are that perky. Boobs don't do that. Hashtag real boob physics. I want them.
Oh my god. Dude, that was the fucking... The waste of liquor hurt my soul.
That shit was crazy. Like, you know what the vibe I was actually getting immediately when he woke up in the pod and, like, he was looking around and, like, she was walking out to show what her real form was. I'll be 100% honest. I thought she was going to be, like, a GLaDOS type thing, like from Portal.
Oh my god.
And I'll tell you why. Because if you look at that shot, go back to Portal 2 when, like, you first meet GLaDOS again and it's all in this, like, overgrown room. It reminded me of that. You know?
It reminded me of sort of a mixture. The monsters and the planet itself kind of reminded me of a mixture of fucking Dead Space and Halo's Flood.
Oh yeah. And by the way, I always look for potential cover photos in any series I watch, and that, like, when it zoomed out and it flashed to, like, the overgrown fucked up like what it was in reality, that shit was like a cover photo worthy thing. That was awesome. God, and you know what was sad too, like, basically she's basically just keeping them happy until they die, because it's not like I thought she was going to be like assisting them, keeping them alive, but like you saw he was basically starving to death, about to die. His comrades were skeletons. So like basically it's just like, yeah, you know, I'll keep you alive until you starve to death and your body gives out, or I won't keep you alive, I'll keep you happy. I just want you to die happy. Die, you know, boning what you think is your wife, or what I assume that was like his ex-wife or wife, or I don't know, something.
Yeah, it was something.
But clearly, this alien creature...
Clearly, it was a fling to him.
It's interesting. It's like a benevolent alien creature that feels bad for all of these pilots that like go off course, and basically just somehow has the ability to like both know exactly, like she can like look into their minds, but also like give them Matrix level simulations. It's like that's the thing with this show, right? It's got a lot of good concepts. And whether or not it's on purpose or not, I'm going to guess it is on purpose. They leave a lot of shit unanswered. So if that kind of shit frustrates you, that will kind of be a thing in this show. They don't answer anything. That's the problem. Like, there's a lot of great concepts here, but nothing is answered. That's the big thing that I'm torn about. Because in one way, it's like that might be the point, you know, like to get you thinking. But in the other, but it's also frustrating. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. How about the absurdity of the episode where the yogurt becomes sentient?
Oh my god, bro, that shit! I gotta be honest, that might be one of my favorites.
Really?
No, yes, really. I like silly shit.
I like the absurdity of it, but the animation style of it was a little bit jarring to me.
No, it looked like a fucking Minions movie. I have no problem with that.
Yes, and I am sick of Minions.
Not everything has to be realistic, David. You got to see fucking like like how Illumination Studios or DreamWorks would animate bouncing tits. Have we ever seen that? No.
Oh my god.
Chibi tits. By the way, I do think there were tits in every episode.
There was.
I feel like they had a quota to fill. Cats.
They had to have cats,
pussy, and titties.
Bush,
oh, okay.
Bush, full on Bush.
Yeah.
And Dracula dick in one episode.
Was that the only episode with dick?
I think that was the only episode we saw a dick.
See, that's not cool. They should have equaled out the dick to
equal dicks and tits.
Yes, because then feminists shouldn't be mad. There needs to be more dick. All right. Anyway.
I sound like fucking Michael here.
You know what I do need to talk about though? No, back to the pudding episode. You're not pudding, yogurt. No, yogurt. I cannot even tell you how hard I laughed when it was like, we want Ohio.
Give them Ohio.
No, that shit was so funny.
I know, that was clever.
Not even just clever. Like, I don't even know what that was, but like, I was sitting here like thinking they were gonna like ask for control of the country, ask for
I mean, they knew they'd get it because they knew humans would fuck up.
Well, here's what I thought. Like, I legitimately thought they were gonna ask for, you know, like something like we want rights, we want individual rights, we want control of maybe our own island, just randomly Ohio. Just Ohio, and it's so, and it's even funnier because we live in Michigan, so Ohio is like right next. I've been to Ohio many times, so it's so funny that Ohio. And then they're like, all right, well, China offered us an entire province, so
they knew how to manipulate the president of the United States.
And that's another one where it was like, there's a message there. I know there is, but they're not making it obvious. Now, the only message I can get out of it is, it's just the stupidity of humans, I guess. Like, basically, like, the pudding tried to help us, basically solved our entire economic system and world and created world peace. I keep calling it pudding. I'm sorry. The yogurt.
The yogurt.
Because pudding's better than yogurt. Sorry. Just saying. But, so the yogurt did all that, right? And then it's like, I think what happens is, they go to the stars, leaving us behind, and I think the panic in that regard is because the narrator's like, "Well, they're gonna leave without us. Oh my god!" Right? Because they basically humanity got dependent on the yogurt. You know what I mean? Without the yogurt there, we would go back to being idiots and ruining everything. Right? Exactly. That's how I see it. So, like, I think that the panic there is without the yogurt to tell us what to do, we're gonna be fucked again, and that I don't know. It's really weird.
And to have something so absurd narrated in a David Attenborough nature documentary style was fucking hilarious.
I don't even like. I'm gonna need someone because there's a guy I used to watch that would analyze Black Mirror episodes, and I really hope that someone, if not him, just someone needs to analyze each one of these episodes and find like the deep meanings because it's gonna bother me.
How about the dump, Red?
Oh.
So a little bit of...
Go ahead. Sorry.
A little bit of backstory for me. Both my parents are rednecks. So I was watching that one in the living room,
Oh my god.
I'm just, my mom saw that. She's like, that looks and sounds just like my brother.
Jeez. That's awful.
But
No, well, what I was gonna say, that one is a good example. That's the example of a good twist, or that was capped off wonderfully. Like it made sense. It was basically like, and I liked how he's like, listen, I'm gonna tell you a story, and if you still want me to leave by the end of it, then fine, I'll sign your papers. Basically, it's just a story of he's lived here for 20 years, and the reason he's lived here for 20 years and no one has removed him is because he has this thing.
yeah. I'm sure plenty of other city inspectors have came.
Yeah, oh yeah, and I wonder if they ever, see, that's another thing. Now I want to see what happens, like when they realize, the last 5 city inspectors we sent have gone missing. That's strange.
Hey, is he a cannibal? Is he killing them?
Yeah.
Are they dying of septic shock upon going into the city dump?
So I guess, what's your very favorite? To start wrapping up this video, what was your very favorite episode?
Okay, so my very favorite has to be a tie between, I keep mentioning them, but just because of the way the animation is done, and just because of how they've renewed my faith in animation going forward with like camera work and fucking doing everything. The Good Hunting episode, which is basically a Studio Ghibli movie.
Yeah.
Was a lot darker.
So that and Dracula Dick,
the fucking Dracula Dick. Yep.
Interesting. Okay.
The one that baffled me the most, and just I mentioned it a lot earlier, like right in the beginning of the fucking video. Like there was a lot of like Taliban references in this, which kind of dates when they started working on them.
Uh-huh.
But the shapeshifter one with the werewolves.
Yeah.
I'm fucking watching that one. I'm like, when did they start working on this one?
Yeah.
You know
that's
what?
A good point.
It could have been too fucking recent because otherwise it would have been ISIS.
You make a good point, actually. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, and that one was kind of just meh to me, like, as I was watching that one, because I've always found, like, anything that takes place in, like, a desert, and like, because I find both werewolves and desert scenes boring, so I was like, okay, well, I'm not really, like, this is going to be boring to me.
What about the fish one? It was in the desert.
Wait, remind me? Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, you're right. I guess I like synonymize. I don't know if I'm using that word right. I shouldn't just make up words. I got called out.
Don't Gavin this.
I got called out in a comment a couple fucking videos ago where they were like, your grammar made no sense there, and I'm like, all right, grammar Nazi, let's chill. No, but I guess I just correlate maybe deserts with boringness because it's usually just like I feel like it's like an easy thing to draw deserts.
So. The other one that really kind of was meh to me it was a clever concept, but it just fell flat to me, and that was Lucky 13.
Mm-hmm.
The one about the plane.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that.
So we can't wrap this video up without talking about Ice Age.
Okay, you start. You're the one that had the issues with it.
Okay, so it's Indian in the Cupboard.
Yes.
Meets a refrigerator with worse than trauma acting.
Yeah. Yeah. There's got to be a stinker in it. Every series has got one bad episode, at least.
Okay, even Doctor Who has stinkers.
Oh, Doctor Who has. Unfortunately, Doctor Who usually half the season is stinkers, and then you watch for those like 3 good episodes.
But I had to say this is worse than the worst Doctor Who episode.
Yeah, it is weird, the inconsistent, like and I'm glad that you told me that they're all done by like individual teams, because it makes a lot of sense now, right? Like, because it really does, it almost reminds me of do you remember what Cartoon Network did back in like, I think it was like 2008 or something? They had something called Cartoon Institute, and it was
yep.
And the whole idea was they were just brought together a bunch of animators to make a bunch of different pilots, and then whichever ones were popular, they'd make shows out of. And that's where we got Regular Show, and Uncle Grandpa came out of that as well.
Adventure Time came out of that.
Yeah. So Yeah,
I think
fucking-
Chowder came out of that.
Maybe. I know for a fact Regular Show and Uncle Grandpa did. So like it almost reminds me of like I feel like this almost seems like I almost wonder if some of these weren't even made with the intent of putting them in a thing under the title of Love, Death, and Robots. Like it almost feels like a lot of these were just made already, and then it was like, oh hey, you want me, we'll slide it into this compilation of like weird shit we're putting together, you know?
That's kind of the vibe I got from the Werewolf one. That's kind of the vibe I got.
Oh
from
yeah, the
15.
Werewolf one felt really out of place to me.
Ice Age, the Alternate Histories one kind of fell into that vein as well.
The
Secret War.
Alternate Histories one felt like a fucking College Humor YouTube video.
It did. Adam Conover here.
Either that or like the animation style. It definitely felt like one of those like educational videos that had like the chibi style or whatever.
Yep. So
we got to talk about that Hitler one a bit more though. Okay, so the many different deaths were beautiful. So Encased in Jello was interesting. The sex goddesses from a different sex dimension of pleasure, that felt like it was straight out of a Ninja Sex Party video. Did it not? Like that
was my first thought. I'm like, okay, Danny Saxbang, go back to making music videos.
Like, do you remember the fucking 6969 music video, right?
Yep.
Like where they go to the fucking future and it's like a sex, well, it's not when they get there, but then they turn it into like this ultimate sex planet.
Oh my god.
And their rocket ship actually looks like a penis. It's just, that felt like a Ninja Sex Party video. And then my personal favorite is a bunch of robot Nazis and anti-Nazis, with the Nazis trying to protect him and the anti-Nazis trying to kill him. It was a very Terminator-esque scene, because I could see that happening too. If time travel if time travel ever existed, Hitler would be like, his whole life would just be a fucking cacophony of people trying to fuck with him. Because whenever anyone mentions a time travel, it's always Hitler. We gotta kill Hitler. We gotta do something to Hitler. We gotta make sure Hitler gets his art degree. I don't know.
Yeah, and the fact that it was all in front of the fucking college.
Oh, that shit's funny. Yeah, he
died on the fucking university steps in the MRSA.
Yeah. And you know, that's another thing that could be a great series, like the multiverse thing. Like that almost seems like a Rick and Morty concept. Actually, yeah, it is a Rick and Morty concept. Remember when they had the fucking goggles to look at different fucking multiverses?
This is the one where you were born, Summer.
Look at how happy we are. But yeah, I mean, like, there's so many things that I would love to. Like, it almost reminds me of like there was the Family Guy episode where they went into like, this is what the world would be like if religion was never a thing, and then everyone was like way smarter or some shit, and you know, like I love those little concepts of like, what would the world be like? Wasn't there a video game recently where it was like America if the Nazis won World War II?
Wolfenstein, the new ones.
Yeah, and then they spelled America with like a K, right?
I believe so, yeah.
I just remember seeing the trailers.
I haven't finished it.
I remember seeing the trailers for that, and I was like, that's an interesting concept.
Yeah, it's... Wolfenstein's always been that weird fucking series where, like, you gotta kill Mecha Hitler, and you gotta do all this weird shit.
Mecha Hitler!
Yeah, it's definitely... This new one, though, is just brutal to a whole new level, to the point where you're filming... I got to, like, the fucking... where you're on TV kind of thing, where you're taking clues from your fucking hand. Like, okay, I need to stop here. This is too absurd even for me.
I guess, what's your final thoughts on Love, Death, and Robots?
Love, Death, and Robots for me is definitely in that great concept, needs more area.
I don't know. I just, if they took a more Black Mirror approach to it and just like, they had like interesting endings in each one of them, because like they are so interesting and weird, and like they make you really wonder. But then like when each
like
episode,
with The Witness, like it going in.
Oh my god, we need to talk about that one. Like that.
Let's wrap it. We need to talk about this one.
What was the whole fucking point of that episode?
Right?
Literally what happened in that episode, okay? A dude killed a whammon. A whammon saw the dude kill that whammon, but it was the same whammon, which was weird, right? So, like, he killed a girl, looked up, looked across the window, that girl was over there.
And then it goes into, like, this BDSM-style sex club.
Yeah. So then she runs out to a taxi, calls 911. 911's, like, really dismissive of her, and she's like, okay, fuck it, I guess I'll go to my fucking strip club job. Which is, they're all in gimp suits and shit. And then she does this, like, dance with, like, mega fucking pubic hair just everywhere. And then he follows her in there, gets fucking danced on by all these gimp suit fuckers. And then they chase each other back to the same hotel.
But wait. She goes into the dude's fucking room, grabs the gun. First, going through the drawers, and then there's just a drawer full of dildos.
Oh, yeah.
You cannot skip over the drawer of dildos, Red.
I'll be honest, I somehow I missed that. I need to go back and look at that. Anyway,
that needs to be the thumbnail.
No, that's called demonetized. Wait, no, we don't get monetized.
Exactly. Do you go the achievement hunter route?
We'll put it on our website. We don't have a website.
Yet.
Well, even fucking Teching 101 doesn't have a website. King of Lighting doesn't have a web. We don't need a fucking website. Buy our merch that we don't have. Yet.
Buy that merch.
Buy it. All right, Logan Paul. Or was that Jake Paul? That was Jake Paul.
That's Jake Paul.
That's true, but no.
The one that's not a flat earther.
So just to clarify, then it ends with her killing him, and then she looks across the window and sees him. So they're in this weird fucking loop where they keep killing each other, and then somehow they're alive across the fucking street, and then they chase each other, and then it just keeps fucking cycling. And I'm just like, okay, listen, that's a cool concept. It is. But what was all that middle shit for? No point. No point at all.
There was a point. There was a point. If they didn't have that, it would be 35 fucking seconds.
I'm just so confused. Like, what was... Some of them I can look at and be like, okay, that was the deep message for this one. That was the deep message for this one. What the fuck was the deep message for that one?
Some people are doomed to kill each other?
Maybe. I don't know. It's just... And
that
was the one that, like, straight up looked like Spider-Verse. Like, the animation was so interesting, and the city was vibrant, and, like, the animation...
I want to live in that fucking world, by the way.
It felt like I was on fucking LSD, which, to clarify, I don't know what that feels like, but, I mean, I can...
I do!
What, accurate?
Pretty fucking accurate.
Cool. So, it's just, like, that was a fascinating one to watch, but, like, I really wanted more. What the fuck was happening? God damn it. So, yeah, anyone wants to upload some explained videos where they deeply analyze the series, I will watch them.
We need to talk about The Secret War, the finale.
That one... I don't know how to feel. Like, it was good, but again, I just felt like good.
I honestly, one thing I love about that is the creatures themselves.
Yeah, I mean...
That's something the series did really, really well, is like creating their fucking monsters.
Oh yeah, they loved their fucking horrifying creatures, for sure.
But these ones were like straight out like Metro Exodus and shit. And I'm like,
you know what I did really like? I loved the cove. Like they would find like these underground like coves that they lived in and like try to blow them up. And I mean it was emotional. Like when they realized like, oh, we're dying here, you know. And like those death scenes were emotional as fuck. And I got to be honest too. Like it did its job because when the planes came and bombed the fuck out of them, I was like, yeah, hell yes, that was satisfying, right? But again, then it just ends there, and I'm like, ugh.
The other thing that I really loved about that one is like the occult aspect.
Yeah, they just kind of basically some dude tried to summon them to like fight for him, and then shocker, he couldn't control them.
Exactly, like that kind of shit alone. I would like a backstory on that fucking organization inside the Russian military, stuff like that.
Oh, and the animation was glorious too.
Oh my god, I noticed the Uncanny Valley in that one, but I didn't in the Aquila Rift.
I still think that was... I know that Aquila Rift was animation, though. Like, because... See, now you're making me now you're making me second guess it, which is a testament to how good the animation is, I guess. But...
like, there was definitely animated aspects to it, but I think...
You think it, like, switched back and forth between real actors and animation?
I think the crew themselves outside of the simulation were all live action, and then potentially him and her inside the simulation were, and then the rest of them was like doubles after that. Because I think you're right on the fucking Uncanny Valley when the crewmate was fucking like yelling and shit. Yeah, I think you're right there, but I honestly get more of like that's live action ADR, not animation ADR.
Yeah.
For most of that. But
I agree with that, for sure. But yeah, I guess my final thoughts on this series is it's good. But and it's fascinating to watch, and you watch it and you definitely feel like very similar to what you'll feel when you watch Spider-Verse, which is there's a goddamn a lot of passion that went into this, a goddamn, I'm assuming, good budget went into this, you know.
Oh my god.
Just a lot of talent, passion, hard work. It was not just a show that was shit out, for sure. But story-wise and what's really happening in these episodes, they just feel like random, I don't know, like it feels like they set out to just like, let's just make this weird thing. Like it's almost like they had a concept and they ran with it and until they were bored and they just ended it immediately. And maybe that's what they wanted to do. You know, like I could be. I mean, I know that some people find it artsy to end it on a we'll end it and not explain anything, but like I like things explained kind of.
I like having an explanation, at least for the most part. You know, you can leave some things up open to interpretation.
Yes,
for sure. But you can't leave your entire concept open to interpretation.
Yeah.
And a lot of these were definitely, like the Loop one with the witness, definitely pretty much open-ended for interpretation. No real, you know, substance to the story itself other than goddamn art porn.
Yeah, at the very least, all of these are goddamn animation porn. At least most of them are, so you can at least enjoy that.
I would honestly like to know the actors, because I didn't watch the fucking credits because it's Netflix, and, you know, you're just going through.
Yeah, I kept having a glitch where it kept taking me back to the farmer mech one every time, and I had to go to the list manually because every time it went to the quote unquote next episode, it would take me to the farmer mech one, and I'm like, okay, I get it.
I get it. You might have put a lot more money into this one, but I was reading like there was this fucking randomizer algorithm that was going around for the series just to kind of test stuff. I think it was IO9 that was talking about it, and then people were like, on Twitter and shit, you know, shit posting like, if it starts here, you're this. If it starts here, you're that. You know, I'm like, okay. Okay. Lol, Twitter humor, stop.
Well, I guess, yeah, I mean.
Like, the creators were like, no, it's not that. Netflix was like, no, it's not that. It's something we're trying out. I'm like, okay, great, but I'd like to watch them in fucking chronological order. I mean, that doesn't really matter, but when it's, I had the same thing, like, it was going right back to this. It was going back for me to Sunny's Edge, which great, you know, you got that fucking Infamous style art, but fucking I want to watch them all in fucking order.
Well, yeah, I guess your final thoughts on the series as a whole, what you took away from it.
What I took away from it is I want fucking season 2.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, it's like weird shit.
I would love to see. I would love to see some of these turned into full series, though. Like I've been saying the entire video. Like, Sunny's Edge, for one, would be a fucking phenomenal series. Fucking the Mercenary one for the Cave of Souls one. The fucking Good Hunting one. You know, shit like that, you know, would be great fucking continuations. But and the Kilo Rift one, knowing more about the crew, and then the finale, definitely knowing more about like the occultist organization and shit.
Oh yeah, with the Rift one, I would immediately want to know, like, okay, why do so many ships end up there? Like she was like, oh, it's the same glitch that brings them all here. Like, what? Why? What the fuck happened?
Exactly. You can't just fucking Star Trek this shit. You gotta explain it. Even the early Star Trek shit would explain at least great deals of the concepts.
Well, and that's the thing, like, I think it's just, these are all just going to be shorts. They're shorts and they're concepts. They're all like, it's like a collection of a bunch of pilots, and I don't think we're ever going to see a continuation on any of them, because it seems like the point of this is just a bunch of weird little shorts, like kind of shit you would see, you know, in between, like, you know, on like movie channels where like they'll play movies, but then like the times will be slightly off.
Yep.
So then they need to like fill something for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, and then Cartoon Network would throw like a fucking episode of Tom and Jerry in that slot and shit like that.
So like it feels like something that like one of like a more mature channel would just throw in just to take up time. Like again, it's really good, but there's really no story substance in my opinion to any of these. There's some good like kind of twists in some of them, but for the most part, what you're getting is phenomenal animation, phenomenal art direction, phenomenal camera work, and like pretty trippy shit. So yeah,
Yeah,
for me,
definitely.
that's Peace.
Peace.